The forest is dark and quiet as you arrive, the kind of darkness that feels soft instead of empty, wrapped gently around the tall trees and the narrow path that leads to the cabin. The night air is cool and calm, and a light rain drifts down through the branches, touching leaves, touching bark, touching the earth below with a patient, steady sound. The small wooden cabin waits among the trees, simple and still, its shape familiar and welcoming in the low light. Rain rests on the roof and slides slowly down the wooden walls, collecting on the window panes where it forms long, quiet trails. The forest holds the cabin carefully, like something precious and safe, hidden away from the rest of the world. The door opens easily, without a sound, and the warmth inside greets you at once. The smell of wood fills the air, dry and comforting, mixed softly with the faint scent of rain carried in from outside. The door closes again, gently, and the forest sounds become softer now, filtered through thick wooden walls. Inside, the cabin is small and calm. Wooden boards line the walls, their grain visible in the soft light, each line slow and familiar. A single lamp glows on a small table, its light warm and low, spreading gentle shadows across the room. Nothing is bright, nothing is sharp. Everything rests in a quiet balance of shadow and glow. Rain continues to fall outside, tapping lightly on the roof above, a steady rhythm that never rushes. It moves across the cabin slowly, the sound shifting from one corner to another, sometimes louder, sometimes softer, always calm. The windows hold the rain carefully, letting it slide down the glass in smooth, unbroken lines. A wooden chair sits near the table, solid and still, its surface worn smooth by time. The table holds nothing more than the lamp, and that feels like enough. There is no clutter here, no hurry, no need for anything else. The room feels complete just as it is, quiet and steady. The lamp's light pools gently on the floor, warming the wood beneath it. Shadows gather in the corners, soft and unmoving, never reaching too far, never fading completely. The cabin seems to breathe in its own slow way, settling deeper into the night with each passing moment. Outside, the forest listens to the rain. Leaves shimmer as water moves across them, and somewhere far away, a branch releases a drop that falls quietly into the soil below. These sounds drift toward the cabin and then drift away again, like thoughts that never need to be held. The rain remains steady, patient, repeating itself without change. It taps, it slides, it rests, and then it begins again. On the roof, on the windows, on the ground beyond the walls. The rhythm stays the same, soothing and familiar, as if it has always been there and always will be. Inside the cabin, the air feels warm and still. The wooden walls hold the heat gently, keeping the night outside at a respectful distance. Nothing from the forest can reach this space. Nothing needs to. The world beyond the cabin fades into something distant and quiet. The chair remains where it is, waiting without expectation. The table stands firm beneath the lamp, which continues to glow softly, never flickering, never changing. The shadows remain calm, stretching and resting without movement. Everything inside the cabin seems to agree on stillness. Rain moves again across the windows, tracing slow paths downward. Some drops meet and join together, becoming heavier, sliding faster for a moment before settling again into the steady pattern. The sound is soft, almost like a whisper, repeating itself again and again. Time feels different here. It does not press forward. It does not pull back. It simply rests, like the cabin itself, like the forest wrapped around it. Moments pass without being counted, without needing to be noticed. The wooden floor feels solid beneath the quiet air. Each board fits neatly beside the next, forming a surface that feels dependable and calm. The walls rise gently upward, meeting the ceiling where rain continues its gentle work above. The lamplight remains unchanged, warm and low, creating a small island of comfort in the night. Shadows shift only slightly as the rain outside changes its pattern, but nothing inside moves. The cabin holds its breath in a peaceful way, content with silence. Outside, the forest grows even quieter, as if listening more closely to the rain. The sound becomes deeper, softer, more even. Drops fall at their own pace, never rushing, never stopping, each one finding its place. Inside, the warmth stays constant. The air feels settled, resting comfortably in the space. The smell of wood remains steady, familiar, grounding. Everything feels protected here, wrapped in layers of wood, shadow, and sound. The rain continues its gentle song, repeating and repeating on the roof, on the glass, on the earth. The cabin listens without response, holding its quiet shape in the darkness, steady and safe, while the night stretches on, unmeasured and calm, and the soft sounds of rain keep falling and falling and falling without end. The cabin remains exactly as it is, resting quietly within itself, while the rain continues its steady rhythm outside, touching the roof again and again with the same soft patience. Each drop sounds familiar now, as if the night has settled into a pattern that does not need to change. The rain moves across the roof in gentle waves, sometimes sounding slightly closer, sometimes slightly farther away, but always calm, always even. It never surprises. It never stops. It simply continues, filling the space between moments with a soft, constant presence. Inside the cabin, the wooden walls hold their warmth. The grain of the wood seems deeper in the low light, each line stretching slowly, unhurried, from one end of the wall to the other. Shadows remain where they are, resting comfortably in corners and along the edges of the room, never shifting enough to be noticed. The lamp still glows on the small table, its light steady and warm, creating a gentle pool that fades slowly into darkness. There is no harsh line between light and shadow, only a smooth, gradual softening, as if the room itself is easing into rest. The chair remains still, its quiet shape unchanged. It does not demand attention. It simply exists, solid and dependable, like everything else in the cabin. The table beneath the lamp feels grounded, settled, holding the light without effort. Rain continues to slide down the windows, forming long trails that meet and separate over and over. The glass feels cool somewhere beyond the warmth of the room, but that coolness stays outside, kept at a distance by the wooden walls and the steady calm inside. The sound of rain becomes part of the cabin, blending with the quiet until it feels less like something happening outside and more like something the cabin itself is creating. Tap after tap, slide after slide, the rhythm stays the same, gentle and unbroken. Time stretches softly here. There is no sense of before or after, only the steady now, resting quietly in the space. Moments drift by without weight, without edges, melting into one another like shadows blending into the walls. The air inside the cabin feels still, as if it has settled completely. Nothing stirs it, nothing disturbs it. It rests gently against the wooden surfaces, holding warmth and calm in equal measure. Outside, the forest feels very far away now, reduced to a faint presence behind the rain. Trees stand unseen, paths disappear into darkness, and the world beyond the cabin becomes something distant and unimportant. The cabin remains its own small world, complete and enclosed. Rain continues, repeating itself with endless patience. The sound never grows louder or softer for long. It stays steady, like a lullaby without words, familiar enough to fade into the background of thought. The lamp's glow remains unchanged, casting the same soft light across the same wooden floorboards. Each board reflects just a hint of warmth, their surfaces smooth and quiet, holding the light gently before letting it go. Shadows remain long and calm, stretching across the walls and floor in a way that feels natural and unhurried. They do not move suddenly, they simply exist, as constant as the rain. The cabin seems to settle even deeper into stillness, as if it has found the most comfortable way to rest. The walls feel thick, protective, holding the night outside and keeping the interior wrapped in safety. Rain touches the roof again and again and again, the sound repeating without variation. Drops gather, slide, and disappear, only to be replaced by new ones, each following the same quiet path. The windows continue to listen to the rain, letting it trace slow patterns across the glass. Some trails fade as others appear, but the motion is so gentle it almost feels like stillness. Inside, nothing changes. The chair stays where it is. The table holds the lamp. The lamp holds its light. The room holds its calm. Everything agrees to remain exactly the same. The sense of time grows softer, less defined. Seconds and minutes lose their shape, blending together into a long, quiet stretch that feels endless and smooth. There is no reason to notice how long anything has been this way. The warmth inside the cabin remains steady, spreading quietly through the air and into the wood itself. The smell of wood lingers, familiar and comforting, unchanged by the passing night. Rain continues its gentle rhythm, filling the silence with sound that feels almost like silence itself. The cabin listens, the forest listens, and the night rests quietly around them while the rain keeps falling, softly and steadily, without beginning or end. The cabin remains quiet and unchanged, holding its stillness the same way it has been holding the warmth, without effort, without needing to adjust. The rain continues outside, touching the roof in the same slow rhythm, each sound arriving gently and leaving just as gently, never asking for attention, never pulling the night forward. Inside, the wooden walls seem to rest more deeply now, as if the night has settled fully into them. The grain of the wood runs patiently along the boards, line after line, each one familiar, each one steady. In the low lamplight, the wood looks softer, smoother, as though time itself has worn away anything sharp. The lamp glows quietly on the small table, its light unchanged, its warmth constant. It does not brighten or dim, it simply stays, filling the space closest to it with a gentle glow that fades slowly as it reaches the edges of the room. The light meets the shadows without resistance, blending smoothly, so there is no clear boundary between them. Shadows rest along the walls and in the corners, long and calm, shaped by the same objects they have always known. They do not move, they do not stretch any farther. They remain where they are, comfortable and settled, as if they have no reason to go anywhere else. The rain continues its steady pattern, tapping softly on the roof, then sliding, then tapping again. The sound feels rounded and even, like something that has been repeating for a very long time. It fills the quiet without interrupting it, becoming part of the cabin's own gentle hum. The windows hold the rain carefully, letting it trace slow, wandering paths down the glass. Some drops pause for a moment before continuing, while others join together and move a little faster. But nothing ever feels sudden. Every motion is slow, patient, and predictable. The chair near the table remains still, its wooden surface smooth and worn. It carries the quiet weight of having been there for a long time, waiting without expectation. It does not draw attention to itself. It simply exists, solid and calm, like the rest of the cabin. The table beneath the lamp feels steady and grounded, holding the lamp's soft glow without strain. Its surface is bare, uncluttered, leaving nothing to distract from the simple comfort of light and warmth. The wood reflects just a hint of brightness, enough to soften the space around it. The air inside the cabin feels settled, resting gently against the walls and furniture. It carries warmth evenly, without drafts or movement, as if it has decided to stay exactly where it is. The scent of wood remains faint but constant, grounding the space in something familiar and reassuring. Outside, the forest feels distant and quiet, reduced to a vague presence beyond the rain. Trees stand unseen, paths disappear into darkness, and the world beyond the cabin feels far away, unimportant and gently forgotten. Nothing from outside presses inward. Nothing disturbs the calm. The rain keeps falling, repeating itself without change. It touches the roof, the windows, the ground beyond the walls, and then begins again. The rhythm never speeds up or slows down for long. It remains even, dependable, like a sound the night has chosen to keep. Time feels loose here, as though it has softened around the edges. Moments drift past without needing to be counted. There is no clear sense of how long the rain has been falling or how long the lamp has been glowing. Everything simply continues, resting in the same quiet pattern. The wooden floor holds the warmth gently, each board fitting neatly beside the next. The surface feels smooth and solid, supporting the stillness above it. Nothing creaks, nothing shifts. The floor remains as calm as the walls and ceiling. Above, the roof listens to the rain patiently, receiving each drop without reaction. The sound spreads evenly across the cabin, never focusing on one place for too long. It becomes a soft blanket of sound, wrapping the space in a steady presence. Shadows remain unchanged, lying quietly across the floor and climbing partway up the walls. They do not deepen or fade. They simply rest, shaped by the lamp's glow and the cabin's gentle angles. The lamp continues to shine, warming the air around it. Its light feels familiar now, almost unnoticed, like something that has always been there. It does not demand attention. It simply offers comfort, quietly and continuously. Rain trails on the windows appear and disappear in slow cycles. One fades as another begins, each following a similar path, each moving at its own calm pace. The glass holds these movements without sound, letting them pass without interruption. Inside, the cabin feels complete. There is nothing missing. There is nothing extra. Every object seems to belong exactly where it is, as if it has always been arranged this way. The stillness feels intentional, chosen, and deeply settled. The sense of time continues to soften, stretching into something wide and unmeasured. Seconds blend into minutes. Minutes dissolve into a gentle seconds that feels endless. There is no need to keep track of anything. The night holds everything in place. The warmth remains steady, spreading evenly through the cabin. It settles into the wood, into the air, into the quiet itself. There is no contrast between warm and cool inside. Everything feels balanced and calm. Rain continues its quiet work outside, repeating and repeating, touching the roof, sliding along the windows, soaking into the earth beyond the walls. The sound remains constant, soothing, and familiar, like a memory that never fades. The chair, the table, the lamp, the walls, and the floor all remain unchanged. They do not shift or settle further. They simply stay, holding the same gentle shapes in the same gentle light. The cabin feels like a small, protected space within the night, wrapped in layers of wood, shadow, and sound. The outside world remains far away, softened by distance and rain, unable to reach this quiet interior. The lamp's glow continues to pool softly on the floor, its edges blending into shadow. The light feels warm, but not bright, steady, but not demanding. It fills the space with a sense of ease that does not fade. Rain continues, steady and patient, filling the background of the night. It does not change its rhythm. It does not stop to listen. It simply falls, endlessly and calmly, as if time itself is moving with it. The air remains still. The silence remains gentle. The cabin remains exactly as it is, holding its quiet warmth while the rain keeps falling outside, softly and steadily, over and over again, with no beginning and no end, just continuing quietly into the night.